coming in. And this is what our colleague Payal is in fact reporting for us, that all BJP female member of parliament will protest at the Gandhi Statue at about 2 o'clock. This is for the insult that has been meted out to the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. So you're already seeing all the members of the BJP standing in protest all throughout the question hour in the floor of the House in Rajya Sabha. This is because they want to stand in solidarity with Jagdeep Dhankar. Now our colleague Payal is also reporting that the female member of parliament will also protest at the Gandhi Statue. Payal in fact is joining us on the broadcast. Payal, give us the details.
At 2 p.m. this afternoon, all the members of parliament from not just the BJP, but we're now going to understand from the NDA will protest at the Gandhi Statue, essentially against Kalyan Banerjee's comment on the chair, which is of course the Rajya Sabha chairman, essentially saying that this is not the way it should be and this is not how, a constitutional position needs to be degraded. Even more, because Mamata Banerjee, while speaking to the media outside, apparently has said that, this is a very casual comment and it should not be taken more seriously. There is no question of disrespecting anybody. But Kalyan Banerjee has not come out and apologized so far, and we've seen reactions coming in not just from the Vice President of India himself, who has been called by both the President of India as well as the Prime Minister himself, and at the same time there has been no apology which is coming from Kalyan Banerjee so far.
Payal, we'll just request you to stay on with us. In fact, Payal has also had a conversation with Locket Chatterjee. Let's play that out.
वाक्य है
तो ममता बनर्जी कहती है इसको कैजुअल पॉलिटिकल जोक लीजिए। मतलब ममता बनर्जी जब प्रधानमंत्री जी को इतना गाली देते हैं तो ये पूरा देश का लोग कैजुअल लेंगे, इसको कुछ पॉलिटिकल नहीं लेंगे। तो जब ममता बनर्जी 2021 के इलेक्शन के टाइम में उन्होंने बोला था कि मुझे दीदी बोल के बुलाया है, इसको लेके जो पॉलिटिसाइज किया था उन्होंने, उसको तो कैजुअल नहीं लिया उन्होंने। तो ये विषय स्पष्ट है कि वो इंस्टिगेट कर रहे हैं अपना सांसद को कि तुम आज उपराष्ट्रपति, कल राष्ट्रपति, परसों प्रधानमंत्री जी को ऐसे तरीके से तुम उसका मिमिक्री करो, ऐसे तरीके से इसको बाहर में ये जो वीडियो कर रहे थे राहुल गांधी, ऐसे तरीके से इंस्टिगेट कर रहे हैं कि अपना जनप्रतिनिधि को बोल रहे हैं तुम लोग आगे बढ़ो, हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं।
पर इसको किस तरह से देखते हैं? पहले अजय रंजन चौधरी ने आपत्ति जनाब टिप्पणी की थी राष्ट्रपति के बारे में, उसके बाद प्रधानमंत्री को लगातार लोग गाली देते ही हैं और अब उपराष्ट्रपति जी के
बहुत दुख की बात है। और आप देखेंगे कि सब लोग क्या कहाँ का रूट है? पश्चिम बंगाल का रूट है। अजीत चौधरी पश्चिम बंगाल का रूट है, कल्याण बंदोपाध्याय पश्चिम बंगाल का रूट है। हमारा
Well, that was a reaction that was coming in from Locket Chatterjee. We also have our colleague and senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh, now joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, it's unfortunate and it's sad to say the least. Look at the reactions that are coming in from the opposition, from Dola Sain to others, who calling this entire episode of Kalyan Banerjee mimicking the Vice President as a non-issue. Is that the strategy as far as the opposition is concerned, that we will just not talk about it?
So there are two narratives which are being pushed very clearly. The entire issue of suspensions seems to have taken a backseat, Ridhima, whereas now what the issue seems to be about the mimicry. And the BJP in a sense has played that game early since morning. You have the Prime Minister's phone call to the Vice President, then you have President of India's comment, then you have the Speaker, and now these kind of protests which Payal is telling us about, of the NDA MPs standing, those pictures being seen, and of course now the women MPs also standing up at 2 o'clock to do it. So the focus has now become on the mimicking of the chairperson, where it is being seen as an insult or humiliation of a constitutional position. In opposite to this is the suspension issue, which clearly has taken a backseat now in terms of narrative. And that's the main reason why the opposition parties would not want to focus or comment too much on the mimicry issue, and they want to be dismissive about it, unapologetic, despite that very brief explanation or clarification coming in from the man himself, which is Kalyan Banerjee, because the opposition knows that the more and more they talk about it, the more and more the focus will shift away from suspensions. So whether it is Sonia Gandhi's speech today early this morning, whether it is on the comments coming in from the Congress and the opposition leaders, they want it on suspensions, but the focus is now shifting from suspensions to mimicry, which doesn't work to the benefit or narrative of the opposition party's strategy.
Pallavi, another aspect that I want to understand from you also is the comment that is coming from Mamata Banerjee, who in a way seems to have put the entire blame on Rahul Gandhi, saying if he didn't film the entire episode, you would have actually not known about it as well. And this comes at a time when the India Alliance in fact had a meeting in the national capital just yesterday.
And which is why we have been saying from day one, the alliance has begun on a very ominous note. The inherent differences and fissures will keep on coming out, and no matter how much of lid you may want to put on it, the fact was that the suspensions did for a brief moment and even now show the sense of solidarity as far as the India front is concerned. But at the end of the day, the regional satraps particularly will always want to protect their turf, will always ensure that they don't shoulder the blame, whether it's the controversy over Sanatan Dharm, whether it's the electoral results in the 3 state Congress versus BJP game. And therefore, I'm not surprised at Mamata Banerjee's comment, because clearly the Kalyan Banerjee incident is something which doesn't put, one, the TMC in a good light. Second, it brings to fore in Bengal the war of words between the then governor and now the chairperson Jagdeep Dhankar versus the Mamata Banerjee government. And third is she would ideally want the focus on a day like today be on her meeting with the Prime Minister.
Correct. Pallavi, we'll just request you to stay on with us. Our colleague Arunima also patiently waiting with us. Arunima, keeping the political war of words aside, talk to us about, as far as the proceedings of the Parliament is concerned, what can we expect right through the day as far as any sort of work that can possibly happen?
Lok Sabha is carrying on with its legislative business. Even as I'm speaking to you, Nishikant Dubey has taken the floor to speak about the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the Suraksha Kanun and the Evidence Act, the Sakshya Kanun. So basically all these 3 bills which were taken up for consideration and passing yesterday, Home Minister introduced the motion. A discussion happened all through yesterday. 12 hours is what was allotted. Surprisingly, not one opposition voice is in there. Most have been suspended. Those who have not been suspended also are not participating, boycotting the proceedings. So these 3 important bills which will overhaul criminal jurisprudence in this country will not have any opposition voice on parliamentary records. Home Minister had said that he would want to take suggestions from everybody concerned, but right now the situation is such that it's only one-sided debate and discussion that is going on. And in a while from now, we are expecting the Home Minister's reply on it, and around lunchtime we could expect these 3 laws to be passed by the Parliament. So even as opposition sits outside, Rajya Sabha sees a lot of ruckus. Legislative business is going on.
So as Arunima is pointing out, there is legislative business, at least as far as the Lok Sabha is going on. We are seeing some sort of adjournments as far as Rajya Sabha is concerned. Arunima, quickly, I just also want to understand, where do the numbers finally stand? Yes, we do know that 70% of the opposition is out. If you could just break down the numbers in terms of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in terms of the suspended MPs.
Yes, so Rajya Sabha MPs were, I think, 46, so that's one above the 50% mark. 45 would have made 50% for the opposition strength there. So more than 50% of the opposition is out as far as Rajya Sabha is concerned. In Lok Sabha, more than 70%. The remaining, I think, were either not present in the House or they were in their constituency, and that's why they have not been suspended so far. And then they decided that the remaining MPs will also not participate, they would boycott. Just want to share an interesting anecdote. The government, fell in a spot of bother last time the suspension happened, because one of the MPs from Tamil Nadu was not present in the House and yet he was named. So this time around, the government actually went along to the opposition side to cross-check if the list of MPs are correct, if indeed these are the MPs who were protesting. And the opposition was more than happy to support them, saying that yes, we are the ones, because they are calling this a badge of honor.
Yeah.
They are saying we are being suspended because we want Home Minister to answer on the Parliament security breach, and the Home Minister is quote-unquote running away. So the suspension is not being treated by opposition as injustice. They're saying this is the way this government works. They're calling this anarchy and completely negating what parliamentary democracy is supposed to mean.
True. We'll just request our colleagues Pallavi and Arunima to stay on with us. We have some other reactions also now coming in. Let's take a look.
आपके संविधान पद को जो अपमानित किया है, तो उस सदन के सदस्य है श्री राहुल गांधी, पूरा संविधान पद का और आपका अपमान किया है। ये तो हम घोर निंदा करते हैं सर। कल भी हमने इसका निंदा किया है। किसी वर्ग और समाज को ऐसे कलंकित करना बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है सर। जहां तक मैं देख रहा हूं, सुना हूं, पढ़ा हूं और देखा हूं, 20 वर्ष से मैं इस पार्लियामेंट में हूं सर। ये पहली बार